Hey Doomer fam, it's the eve of COP28, and I'm keeping it classy with a bottle of brandy. Blue, it's smooth. Already poured myself a glass, letting it chill out for a second. And I'm covering the collapse of modern civilization through the lens of abrupt and irreversible climate change, or abrupt climate system change, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to run through some headlines very quickly before I rant a little bit about what is the national and worldwide joke that we call Conference of Parties. Starting with a phys.org article, Q&A, we need to act very fast, says sustainability researcher. The effects are becoming increasingly tangible. Quote, reforms at the IPCC could serve to increase its political clout, argues researcher Bernd Siebenhuner. And how important is the IPCC? Well, it provides science-based political decisions on CEC and points out options for actions, but does not make any direct recommendations for measures by states. It wields significant power and has achieved many successes. Has it? Because our carbon dioxide levels keep going up. It is highly visible internationally and has a special role in interface between science and politics. Blah, blah, blah. Did you just vomit inside your mouth? Because I did. I need to swig it down. So we assume that the threshold was an average of 2 degrees. In 2015, then we said 1.5. And these are just numbers made up by people who also agree that these numbers are catastrophic. And they come out every 5 years, so by the time the next one comes out, things are going to be drastically worse. And how much things are changing, this has significantly changed the political discourse in the last 5 years. So, what do you need to know? A big old bag of lies. The head of the Middle East's largest private oil producer says we need 100 times more renewable energy to meet demand. It must exceed 4 trillion annually by 2030 to limit to 1.5, compared to just 1.1 trillion last year. It says we need 100 times more renewables to fight the climate change and the growing offset energy demand. In addition, the developing world needs much more than $100 billion, which they claim. It's a bit anxiety-inducing. Do you think not? The floods caused more than $30 billion in Pakistan, as we know, and that was just one event. And so they're thinking, skipping ahead, we'll need more like $2 trillion a year by 2026. Where are we going to come up with that money? How do we not fund the militaries or give tax subsidies and tax cuts to big oil companies and private CEOs? That's where it's at. We have astute people like AI founders saying how many places are doomed, try everywhere is doomed, but others will be valuable asset class in the world. He wants to help people future-proof their real estate. He runs analytics platform Climate Alpha. Yeah, just know, because a once in every 7.5 million year event in Antarctica, to say unprecedented isn't strong enough. Published a few days ago. Again, there's so much to cover. I can't get through it all. It's a lot. Okay? In the past 8 years, sea ice has reached a new record low 4 times. The first 3 times it dropped in the summer and rebounded in winter. But this year, scientists confirmed that the ice was not reforming during the winter, leaving long stretches of the Antarctic coastline bare. According to physical oceanographer Edward Doddridge, this is the first time an event like this has been observed, extremely unlikely to happen on its own. To say unprecedented isn't enough. This is a Phi Sigma event, which means that if nothing had changed, we expect to see a winter like this once every 7.5 million years. The most likely cause is human activity. People create air pollution. Yes, heating the planet. over and over. This also creates an ice albedo feedback, a vicious cycle in the melting the ice. It makes the ocean heat up faster, causing even more ice to melt. It could reach a tipping point, and that will lead to the Earth heating up much more quickly. So we have a BOE happening. We might end up in a new state that would be quite concerning to the sustainability of human conditions on Earth. But it's okay. Climate Alpha says many places are doomed. Shed a tear for the wolverines facing extinction. North American wolverine has received long-delayed threatened species protections under Biden administration proposal. Quite a gnarly looking animal. You do not want to come across this thing, but they're important for habitat and survival of many other species in the process. They're being threatened because of melting away of snowy mountain refuges push them towards extinction. Growing number of animals, plants, and insects from polar bears to crocodiles. Increasing temperatures bake the planet, altering snowfall patterns and raising sea levels. In the coming decades, this is our last stable decade on Earth. Warming temperatures are expected to shrink the mountain snowpack, where they rely on to dig dens and they raise their young. At this point, I'd like to ask you to hit upvote, because there's no reason why I can't have 100 views and 100 upvotes. So it literally takes 5 seconds to go down to the bottom. Use your thumb and just move a little bit. 5 seconds. Come on, guys, we can do this together. And hit upvote. Thank you. So I also want to give a shout out to a young individual I met, young girl, at the library in the maker space, which is essentially like a creative co-op building area where they have 3D printers and such. And I was having a charming conversation with a 12-year-old and told her the growing threat that is abrupt climate change and how the world that she would be graduating into would be very different from mine. She later found me in the library and asked that I give her a plug and shout out. So this is probably an opportune moment to do so, not meaning much, if she is still watching, which I doubt it, ahead of COP28, the circus clown show where all of the money-hungry, greedy oil companies who got their paws into everything and tentacles discuss how much further they can rape the planet and get as much profit as possible at the same time. Cheers to you. A few years ago, as you've been watching my content, I thought it was the greatest meeting ever. This was the last possible chance that we would have to divert course. You know, if you've been watching me, you know I was there a few years ago, all head full of hopium, blown up like a balloon. But here we are, almost 2024. The planet is careening down into Antarctic BOEs, mass extinctions. Virtually everything that could go wrong is going wrong at an exponential rate. So, hearing that Biden couldn't make it, or that the Pope has no one in his clergy across America not divested from fossil fuel interests, or even himself who couldn't attend because of a lung condition. You know, if we could behead kings and queens in history, I wouldn't see it much differently if we went ahead and pulled out the guillotine for all these oil executives and business CEOs and the like. Just chop them. Just let the heads roll. And it still wouldn't fix because the problem is overshoot. You listening to me, Dr. Gibbs? Climate Adam? It's overshoot. It doesn't matter who we take out. Too many humans consuming too few resources on a finite planet. I have to think about that for a minute. It's jarring. So I'm not getting too trashed on camera. I just want to be a realist and say I've been on this gravy train for a while, the Doom Express, and We are wasting our time. All the cops in the world made no difference. There is no progress being made. We are not sucking out carbon. It requires an immense amount of terawatts of energy to suck carbon out. In fact, I emailed a Sustainability Action Future or something like that. What's that? Rachel something. I emailed her earlier today. I said, all this ideology, culture war, all of it, just BS. Fodder. A drop in the bucket. What we really need is a complete reorder and reorganization of everything on Earth this moment. You can go look at the latest limits to growth model. This is our last stable decade. Maybe if we reduce the population down to like a couple 100,000, built carbon-sucking machines all over the planet this minute that could run off some miraculous alien technology that doesn't require that much power, and paint every rooftop white and reflect all of the ice and the sunlight hitting the ice in the north and the south, like maybe we might save ourselves a few years. But if you've been on this as long as I have, or any of my subscribers, COP28 is a cop-out. Just some rich people getting together, talking about how rich they are behind closed doors. So here's to you, Doomers, for being a part with me through this the entire time. I appreciate you, and I hope to meet you someday wherever you are. I'll talk to you soon. See ya.